So, I spent 10 years studying the English language and the Phoenician script and the cognates, the spiritual side of the language. There is a spiritual side to every language, but I spent my time studying the spiritual side to the English language, which actually applies to all other languages because they all come from the same root except for the Chinese and stuff, Japanese. But all your Romance languages come from the same Phoenician script. Even the Hebrew comes from Phoenician. So anyway, I spent those 10 years studying language. And not only the language, but I studied symbols, shapes, colors, pretty much as I could, the math, the spiritual meaning behind the math and all that stuff. And I even studied, in 2017, I studied as many TV series. I was looking for a pattern. And once I saw the pattern in language, I knew the pattern was everywhere. The language that you speak is spiritual. The words that you speak are spiritual. Words are spirit. Thoughts are spirit. Your heart is spirit. Everything's spiritual. Phonics are spirit. The phonics, there's like 44 phonics, and the vowels and the consonants, you can break them into 44 different phonics. It's pretty interesting. But anyway, I haven't decoded the meaning behind the phonics, but you can see some of them are very clear. There's a subsection of the consonants, the phonics with the letter R. R. The letter R is royalty, right? To be. R is to be. But long story short, what am I saying? I'm telling you that the language is spiritual because Jesus said the words I speak, they're spirit and they're life. The language is spiritual. And Jesus spoke it all into existence. So everything is spiritual. Is it natural as well? Yes. Is the Bible literal? Yes. Is it spiritual? Yes. Is it allegorical? Yes. Is it metaphorical? Yes. Is it symbolic? Yes. It can be literal and spiritual at the same time. There is a literal meaning, but there's also a spiritual meaning to everything. Let me say it again. There is a literal meaning to the Bible, and there's also a spiritual meaning at the same time. And you might say, well, how's that possible? Because it's multidimensional. It's multidimensional. The average person only thinks according to the natural. That's why the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 1 that they're spiritually discerned because they have no spirit. You have to have the spirit of truth to see spiritual truth. Now, some of the unsaved who run to the devil, some of the witches and warlocks and the demon-possessed people, they might see spiritual stuff, but it's not according to truth. It's according to a lie. Let me just break down what witchcraft is for anybody out there who's curious. Let me just break it down. The tattoos go back to witchcraft, okay? So what's happening here? The art, the twisted art, the perverted art, it goes back to witchcraft. What's happening? The bent cross, the bent cross, the Hitler bent cross goes back to witchcraft. What's happening? So witches and warlocks are bending the cross. They're bending the truth. They're turning everything upside down and inside out, and it's just lies. It's fake reality. What does a witch do? What does a witch do? Really? They're rebellious. Their heart is rebellious, number one. Anybody can be into witchcraft. The rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. If you're rebelling against God, you're doing witchcraft. You might even be saved, but your rebellious spirit is witchcraft. Well, what is a witch doing? Let me tell you what a witch is doing. A witch might be using supernatural powers, yes, demons, but the demons are using them. They think that they're getting something or doing something, but they're not really doing anything. And so let's say they write down a word, a spell. So they do a spell on a piece of paper or something, and they write the words in reverse or backwards, or it says a certain thing. So they cast this spell, right? Cast. So you cast. What is cast? It's to make a mold, or to throw. The word cast can make a mold. It can throw something or whatever. So let's say they cast a spell, right? Now, if you're covered by the blood, they can't mess with you. But if you're not saved, yeah, they can affect the zombies out there. The ones who are not into witchcraft, they're just like zombies, and they're just robots to the witch, you know. But at the same time, it only works if a person believes it and if a person's not self-aware. Once you become self-aware, so here's what's happening. There's a lot of people around you in your world that are witches or warlocks, and they're, you know, like they're doing the MK Ultra mind control. They're doing, there's a word for it. They're putting thoughts into your mind with their words, okay? Neuro-linguistic programming. They're using words to program you to think a certain way. So let's say you go to a bar, and you meet up with some gal, and she's throwing her hair back, and she's using sexual terms or sexual words, or she's showing her body language is a word, everything is a word. So she's putting these thoughts in your mind, right? And if the woman goes to the bar and she meets some dude, he's putting sexual thoughts in her mind. And so you know that they do it Disney does it on their cartoons towards the kids. The whole system is trying to get you to get drunk. This Bud's for you. The McDonald's, have it your way. All the advertising propaganda is neuro-linguistic programming. They're trying to get you to think in a certain pattern with words. They're using words to get your mind to become zombified, that you think that way, and then if they hit you enough, see what happens is these secret societies, they'll have handlers in your life, and they keep saying the same thing over and over. What is the handler doing? They might not even be. So let's say somebody's in Freemasons or somebody's in the Jesuit, and they're all working together to attack you. And so they're using the same words to program you to think a certain way. Just like the Fox News, the CNN, the music, the media. I turn the music. Okay, so one of the most popular songs right now, I looked at it the other day. You can actually see how they're trying to program society, right? What's happening now, they're doing a shift where it was the women were saying, I'm Queen Bee, lick my feet. And now this shifted because of the economy. Now they're saying, now it's the opposite in the language of the top music. So they're programming society with the music, with the words in the songs. They're programming the hive with the songs. I'm not doing a good job because I wasn't going to talk about this. But you're being programmed. That's why I cut off the noise. That's why I cut off the TV and cut off when I do scroll through and look at some of the stuff, I'm decoding what the Illuminati or the system's trying to brainwash people. The hive, they're being brainwashed. I promise you it. like the movies, the top movies that they release, the top songs, the rap songs. You're being brainwashed right now. It's wild. So anyway, the witches just do mind control over zombies. See, they know if, let's say somebody cast a spell on somebody, it only works if you believe it, because everything's a reflection. If you believe, oh no, there's a black cat that ran across me, or I walked under a ladder, and you believe it, it's going to happen because you're reflecting back your thoughts. They didn't do anything. They just put the thought in your mind. Long story short, they have no power unless you just give it to them. And you submit to the repetition, just like Hitler said, keep telling them a lie long enough, they'll believe it. Well, if they keep telling you, jump off a bridge 1,000 times, you start to think that way, and it becomes a part of you. And you'll have people in your world, and it might be your best friend, who are trying to program you to think suicide, and they're doing it and without you even knowing. Keep notes, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Hey. Keep notes, and if you are suspicious, if you're depressed and you're talking to the same person every day, they're probably depressing you. If you're talking to the same person every day and you're depressed, they're programming you. Try this test, see what I'm saying. Test the spirits, I promise you. And when you realize that person's programming you, and they're supposed to be either your family or friend, and they're actually trying to kill you, they're trying to get you to kill yourself, you'll cut them off. Because you'll realize this is a real war. And when you start to cut people off, you start to feel better. I promise you, this is happening. And this is not a joke. And I hope some people get free. The only reason I do my channel, it costs me money every month. The only reason I do it is because God set me free, and I want to see other people get free, you know. You're being brainwashed without even knowing it. Like when I walked in this store, there's a song on. Why do they keep playing the same songs over and over? Because they found the songs that work the most to get you to think in a certain vein. They want you to think a certain way. They don't want you to be spiritual. They want you to be natural minded.